We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Wuhan in China now on lockdown as the country struggles with fear of a pandemic.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
Newly identified coronavirus that emerged in the city of Wuhan in central China.
Japan's Prime Minister is considering declaring a state of emergency in Tokyo.
Tonight, a crucial test in China's biggest cities that have been in virtual lockdown.
Cases in Italy continue to soar, but
Hi, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to NikkoVenture. I arrived here in Japan years before the world was hit with the recent pandemic. I was here in Japan when that said pandemic began. I lived through the pandemic here in this country and never got a chance to go home for almost 3 years. And although the rest of the world seems to have already moved on after the pandemic, Japan didn't. There are still new cases of morbidity and mortality relating to COVID here in Japan. Though the use of masks is not as strict during the pandemic, Japanese people really do love wearing them. As a matter of fact, upon arriving in this country, I've already seen many natives wearing masks. Again, I arrived here in this country years before the pandemic even began. So why am I wasting your time talking about this shit? That's because the facility I'm working at right now had several cases of COVID this month and in the last 2021. So I thought it would be good to share with you some of the words I encountered during those times when I had to take care of a COVID positive elderly. When the pandemic began, the virus that caused it was initially called novel coronavirus. That's because novel is a Latin term which means new, alluding to the fact that the virus that caused the recent pandemic was a new type of coronavirus. Eventually though, the names changed into COVID-19 or Coronavirus Disease 2019, the year the virus was originally discovered in China. Initially, the Japanese people adopted the term novel coronavirus, calling it 新型コロナウイルス感染症。
新型コロナウイルスが日本国内で初めて確認されました。
And they never changed it. Shingata roughly means a new type, or in this case, a new strain of infection. Coronavirus is coronavirus written in katakana. Kansensho literally means infection, where your feeling is stained by an illness. Basically, you're feeling unwell. You are infected. An infected individual, basically the carrier of a virus, is called in Japanese kansensha. Once the infectious disease you're carrying spreads to another person or a group of people, that infection would become a contagion, or in Japanese, densen, where the stain is already being transmitted to other people. Once that contagion though becomes widespread, infecting large numbers of people in a community, it's already categorized as an epidemic, or in Japanese, ryuko. This word can also be used to describe a trend in fashion or in something popular. In the context of diseases and infection, you can say that the infection is already having a journey across people or flowing across the community. However, it is important to take note that the natives, most natives here in this country, usually use this word in its other verb form. And that verb form is hayaru, which shares virtually the same meaning with this. It's just that I often hear the natives use hayaru rather than ryuko when referring to COVID-19 or other infectious diseases for that matter. Hidoi byoki ga hayatteru. Once the said disease becomes widespread over a whole country or the world, it is already categorized as a pandemic, or in Japanese, pandemic, or more rarely, hanpatsu. Another word I often encounter is koronatsukare, or that feeling of being tired of dealing with the pandemic, or pandemic fatigue. This koronatsukare is often felt by those who were COVID positive individuals who were forced to self-quarantine, staying in the same place for an extended amount of time while infected with a disease that can be life-threatening. or to those healthcare workers dealing with COVID-positive patients risking being infected with the virus themselves. COVID-19 positive residents in a nursing home or in a caregiving facility are often forced to go under strict quarantine, or in Japanese, kakuri. Furthermore, these residents are often bedridden elderly. As such, there's a huge risk or high risk of developing jokuso, but not only jokuso, but of fushu as well. Fushu, or in English, edema, is swelling caused by too much fluid in a particular part of the body. There are numerous complications of having edema as an old person depending on various factors, but I don't want to bore you with that, so I'm not gonna talk about it. Just kindly take note that fushu is also read as mukumi. They have the same meaning, it's just that fushu is used in the medical field often as a senmon yogo, whereas mukumi is an ordinary word used daily by ordinary people. As such, if you're doing Kiroku at work, it would be better to type in fushu rather than mukumi. Bedridden residents cannot go to the bathroom, obviously. However, perhaps due to dementia, some of these residents literally reach down into their diapers after taking number 2, and they literally play with their own shit using their bare hands. This condition is called roben, where a demented person, a person with dementia, doesn't only play with their shit, but also takes that shit out and rubs it against the clothes, bedding, and surrounding walls. I experienced this more than once. Well, I did not do roben. I saw a resident doing roben at work more than once. And I can tell you, it's not for the faint of heart. I mean, the color and the smell, it's just positioning, or in English, positioning, is without a doubt absolutely important, especially to those bedridden residents who cannot move their bodies on their own. This is done for various reasons. The most common one is for the prevention of bed sores. Some of the most common positioning I often encountered at work are zai, the sitting position, sokogai, lying down on one side, may it be the right or the left side, it doesn't really matter. Gyogai, the supine position or lying on one's back with face upward. Fukugai, the prone position or lying on one's belly with face down. This can also be written as the same meaning, just written in a different kanji character. I know we're talking about the positioning of a bedridden resident, but please allow me to include this type of positioning. Ritsui, the standing, erect, or upright position. Some ambulatory residents, despite being under strict quarantine, often loiter or roam the halls. In Japanese, loitering is haikai, which means wander and wander. Yes. The elderly often do this either because they're demented or just stubborn old bones. In this case, we just have to be firmer and enforce the needed measures to contain the infection and prevent the spread of that infection. Due to the fact that the chance of the virus spreading is really high, some of those, or not some, all of the residents that are COVID-19 positives are restricted from going out and using some of the facilities of the nursing home, and that includes the use of ofuro, or the bath. In such cases, as a substitute for a bath, the care workers often perform bed bath or sponge bath, or in Japanese, seishiki. It's a procedure where the whole body of the elderly are cleansed with the use of hot water, soap, shampoo, and a towel or a sponge in some cases. Doing seishiki when traditional bath is unavailable is extremely important, since the dry and unclean areas of an elderly's body is prone to bacterial and fungal infections. It is often emphasized to us as care workers to focus on cleaning the genital area of the elderly, or in Japanese, inbu senjo. So that's it. Those are some of the words concerning COVID-19 that I can think of for now. If you know more of these kinds of Japanese words concerning COVID-19, please feel free to share it with us in the comments down below. Also, if you like this video or if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course, share this video with an interested friend. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for your time watching this video. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.